Elizabeth Warren spotted getting off a private jet in Iowa as Trump supporters accuse her of trying to hide behind a staffer when she realizes she's being filmed. And let me just say, boy, does it look like Elizabeth Warren is trying to hide from the camera because she was spotted getting off a private jet. Yeah, man, you don't have to fly private. It's so expensive. It's a waste of energy. But of course, they're going to do it because they don't really care about the environment. I have 3 words for Elizabeth Warren. How dare you? How dare you go around claiming to care about the environment, preach to all of the poor people of the world to reduce your consumption, and you maximize your consumption in a quest for personal power. Make a statement. Fly first class. Come on. First class is still awesome, right? But you don't want to wait in line. You want to take your car through the gates and go to your private jet. It's just so much faster, isn't it? So what about what you're talking about? What about your preaching? You think we're supposed to believe you're being honest? Now listen, maybe she really wasn't trying to hide behind people because the camera spotted her, but she's still in the private jet. They all do this, man. All of these celebrities go around bragging like, oh, we got to do better for the world, but not me. Rules for thee, but not for me. You see, while I want you to reduce, reuse, and recycle, personally, I got 800 K-cups. I got a private jet waiting out back, 2 limos in front. In fact, not just a limo, but I got a limo for my dog behind it. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but let's read the story. The Daily Mail reports, Senator Elizabeth Warren was spotted getting off a private plane ahead of the Iowa caucus, with Trump supporters accusing her of trying to hide when she realized she was being filmed. I think she was. The Democratic presidential candidate touched down in Des Moines on Monday on the private jet ahead of the caucus. Footage obtained by Fox News showed the 70-year-old stepping off the plane with several campaign staffers. And they include this tweet from Paul Joseph Watson. Elizabeth Warren, life on Earth is at risk because of CO2 emissions, but not at risk enough for me to give up the convenience of flying on this private jet, then hiding behind a staffer when I'm caught. The Massachusetts senator could be seen thanking a member of the ground staff before making her way towards the airport building. She was filmed following closely behind 2 female staffers. Several Trump supporters quickly started sharing the footage on Twitter as they accused Warren of trying to hide behind the staffer when she spotted the camera. Some pointed to her being a Green New Deal advocate and claimed she was being hypocritical by flying on a private jet. Yes, she is. Now, it is entirely possible that she was just standing, walking behind the staffer. But it really does seem because, okay, at first when she gets off the plane, they're all walking together kind of side by side and you can see her. And then she looks up and looks straight at the camera and then all of a sudden looks down and turns and then begins walking perfectly behind the staffer and you can't see her. You can only see a little bit of her behind. Like, it really feels like, you know what, that makes it so much worse. She should have just waved and been like, hey, how's it going? And she could have explained, listen, we have to make sacrifices. And she could have given some hypocritical speech about the best thing we can do is win. And we have to use the resources available to win. And, we'll do our best to reduce things. But we're up against Donald Trump. And you got to understand, she could have said any of that. Nah, she didn't. She just ducks down. So they have some photos of it. Here we have Warren. There's a tweet from her that says, Trump's first HHS secretary still hasn't repaid taxpayers for the private jets he took while flying to rip healthcare from millions by repealing the ACA. But it's okay, though. It's the donors to Warren's campaign who are paying for her private planes. How about that? Hey, Senator Warren, why are you trying to hide behind your staffer after you just got off that gas-guzzling private plane? Guess climate change is a hoax? A bit hyperbolic, I might add. Charlie Kirk said, here's Green New Deal advocate Elizabeth Warren deboarding her private jet. When she realizes she's being filmed, she tries hiding behind her staffer. She spent $720,500 on private jets last quarter. Whoa, that's nuts. Now, look, I get the general idea of why they do it. They claim that basically there's security issues because having to go through the airport is there's tons of people everywhere and they'd have security with them as potential nominees. So it's easier to take a private plane, but it's still, listen, what's more important, your time or, the world? What message are you sending if you claim people need to cut back and then you won't because you think you deserve that position? Yeah, it's called a rock and a hard place. It's hard for us to find a solution, especially when you have people like Donald Trump not only being proud of his private planes, but Trump literally has a jumbo jet pull up behind him when he's doing his rallies. He's the opposite of them. I get people all the time saying, Tim, why don't you call out Trump for flying in a private jet? Excuse me. Donald Trump doesn't fly in a private jet. Technically, it is like a 757. It's very different from the colloquial understanding of what a private jet is. The point, he has his own Donald Trump it's like a 757 or is it a 47? I think it's a 40. It's huge. I've been to his rallies and they parked the plane behind the hangar and I'm like, the dude's got a giant plane behind him. Trump embraces it and brags about it and cuts regulation. And it's one of the reasons I'm not a supporter of his, because I don't like those things. I'd like Warren to stop flying in private planes too. I'll tell you what, I understand that Trump comes out and says, I do it and I love it. That's not being hypocritical. He's embracing his ideology and he's in line with what he's telling people. Warren, on the other hand, is doing the exact opposite. And so are people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Al Gore. Why should I believe any of them? I believe Trump when he says he doesn't, he's not as concerned when he deregulates, the oil industry or when he flies around on his own private jumbo jet. I'm like, yep, that sounds like Trump. He's a billionaire. That's what he's going to do. A lot of people like it. If you're somebody who doesn't believe that man-made climate change or that man is creating or causing a massive problem or that it will be a great catastrophe, why would you care? Trump's been honest with you the whole time. He says he doesn't care. He says it's a hoax, and he gets in a big plane and flies around. That sounds like success. Personally, I disagree. I think climate change is a big problem. I think we should take it seriously. I don't think lying to people or tricking them is the way to solve these problems. I don't think screaming, how dare you in people's faces is a way to solve the problem. And especially don't hide when you get caught flying in a private jet. So there's just a bunch more tweets. I'm not going to read it. Here, I'll read two more. This person said, Elizabeth Warren deboards private plane in Iowa. The best part is when she looks up, notices the camera, then ducks her head and hides behind a staffer as they continue to walk. They already caught you, Warren. Stop. This person says the best part is after she realizes she's caught on camera exiting a private jet, she attempts to hide behind her staffer. Well, I'll tell you what. Everyone seems to know that these world leaders are complete and total hypocrites. Like this story from The Guardian from today. When it comes to climate hypocrisy, Canada's leaders have reached a new low. Oh, and you got to love Greta Thunberg cozying up to these hypocritical world leaders, taking these photos, but then yelling at everyone else. She has no idea what she's talking about. I feel kind of bad for her as she sits there yelling, how dare you, you've stolen my childhood, but then takes smiley pictures with Justin Trudeau. And they say, a territory that has 0.5% of the Earth's population that plans to use up nearly a third of the planet's remaining carbon budget. Excellent photo opportunity, Greta. The person you need to be sitting next to, Justin Trudeau. The story from The Guardian reads, Americans elected Donald Trump, who insisted climate change was a hoax. So it's no surprise that since taking office, he's been all in for the fossil fuel industry. There's no sense despairing. The energy is better spent fighting to remove him from office. So they say. Canada, on the other hand, elected a government that believes the climate crisis is real and dangerous, and with good reason. Since the nation's Arctic territories give it a front row seat to the fastest warming on Earth, yet the country's leaders seem likely in the next few years to approve a vast new tar sands mine, which will pour carbon into the atmosphere through the 2060s. They know, yet they can't bring themselves to act on the knowledge. Now that is cause for despair. Thank you. The people who elected Donald Trump know he called it a hoax. I'm sorry. I have a disagreement with that, but it's not hypocrisy. It's actually standing by your thoughts, what you believe. But how is Canada going to come out? How is Trudeau going to sit with Greta and they're literally going to build this tar sands mine? The story says the Teck mine would be the biggest tar sands mine yet. 113 square miles of petroleum mining, located just 16 miles from the border of Wood Buffalo National Park. A federal panel approved the mine despite conceding that it would likely be harmful to the environment and to the land culture of indigenous people. Oh, wow. So now you're hitting all the intersectional points. You're literally going after marginalized groups. You're destroying the environment and you don't care. Man, talk about hypocrisy. Listen, I'll wrap this up. I'll keep it short. How are you going to rag on people and then fly in a private jet? How are you going to rag on people and scream, how dare you? But then you have these people you take photo ops with, knowing or believing they're destroying the planet and just doing it anyway. If you really thought the planet was falling apart, you'd stop, wouldn't you? So why should anyone believe you? I don't believe any of these people. I think Greta believes it. I think she's been fed a bunch of crazy nonsense. No, the world's not going to end in 8, 10, or 12 years. And yes, we can wean off fossil fuels in a couple decades. It's not a big deal. There are serious issues. We'll deal with them. Humans survive. New technology will emerge because necessity is the mother of invention. I have faith. But I think she really believes it. Trudeau, these other governments, they don't believe it. They're lying. That's why they're carrying on as though the world isn't ending. It's why they're buying oceanfront properties. Why would they do that? It's why they're investing in Miami Beach condos. Of all the places to buy property, why do it there? If you really thought the city would be underwater, you wouldn't buy the property, would you? So no, they don't believe this. They're hypocrites. And while it may be we have serious issues because the scientific community is saying, hey, we got to do these things, they just don't care. You know why? Because these are the people who just want the keys to the castle. Their attitude is, you know what, it's good for me. Who cares about anybody else? And they pretend like they care. Well, I hope Elizabeth Warren enjoys the comfort of her private jets, but I also hope people film her doing it and call her out for her hypocrisy. I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Podcast every day at 6:30 p.m. And I will see you all next time.